You know, I haven't been to the Great Yarmouth CEX in literally months, actual months. Bearing in mind it's probably my closest CEX. Maybe we should hit it up. And we're going to do that. Welcome to PS Too Many Games.
He has too many games.
Hello guys, welcome to PS Too Many Games, the channel that has some weird choices like this shirt for instance. Squares. As some of you may notice, I have the fashionist sense of a blind person. I don't care. As long as it kind of matches, I don't care what it looks like. Really don't. I haven't worn a shirt in ages. This is supposed to be one of those like light shirts that for like the summer so you don't sweat. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I should also shave because my beard is starting to get a bit bushier than usual. I'm starting to look like a bit of a Norfolk farmer. I just need the flat cap now. So yeah, anyway, seriously. So this is going to be slightly different this time. I might vlog a little. So we're going to hit up CEX Great Yarmouth and a couple of charity shops. In the past I've done some vlogging, but it depends how I feel. Also depends how I get some looks. I've never been one for talking randomly out loud in the middle of nowhere. Because you get those looks of what the hell's this guy doing? Anyway, let's see how we do at Great Yarmouth CEX and some charity shops. Let's go! So hello guys, we have just pretty much set off. And we're going to head for Great Yarmouth. Thought we're going to get something like a drink first, coffee, because I need coffee. Yeah, so basically I've had some people ask the question, why didn't you do a little more vlogging? And basically I know I was doing a lot more talking while you're actually hunting rather than just record it and do it afterwards. There's a multitude of reasons for this. Firstly, it might sound really stupid because how can I put this? I'm not so much a shy person, but this. Oh, good Lord. I respect people's privacy. Actually, no, that can't be true. I film random people. I don't get involved in other people's like business talk. I don't make a tit of myself. We'll go with that one. I don't have the confidence, there you go, I don't have the confidence to be that guy just to walk in, speaking out loud to myself, speaking to a random camera in public. I can do it in my own like personal games room because I'm the only one there. But in public, and you just get that look of, not so much hatred, but confusion of what you're doing. And some people actually do genuinely hate people like me, walking around doing what they want like that. It's not so much arrogant, it's just so much... It's hard to describe. I still enjoy game hunting. It's one of my favourite things. Part of this actual channel I like doing is game hunting. I think I did a vlogging video early in the channel, and that was Great Yarmouth again. I explained why I also dislike Great Yarmouth. It has its ups, but also has many downs. Some people criticise me for that, for expressing that opinion, but once again, it's just an opinion. It's just an opinion. Obviously, people wonder why I'm not looking at the camera, because obviously I'm driving. Obviously, before anyone asked the question, yes, I started this video before I actually turned the car on, so I've not touched the camera, the phone, since I put it in the actual slot. That's fine, it's hands-free. Some people... Jesus Christ, that was a combine harvester. Sorry, I've got to focus a little bit, give me a second. Some people, whatever you do, won't be pleased. And I understand that. YouTube, there's always going to be people that's going to be annoying and just unpleased. That's fair enough. And there'll be some people who, whatever you do, they will like anything you do. And luckily there's about a good 10 to 20 people who watch this channel who not only comment on every video I do, genuinely nice people, but actually have helped out immensely. And you know who you are, because you might have been in my Discord chat already. We might have like single one-to-one conversations. I appreciate that small clip, like immensely. Appreciate you all immensely, because it gave me the confidence to keep going, because everyone knows the stats on YouTube. I think like only 1% of all YouTube channels get past the first year of actually like trying, like still going. Everyone gets that YouTube feeling, it's like I can do this, and they'll give up in like 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and we're now we're now a year and a half into this, and I'm still enjoying it. There have been some times where I'll be honest, there are some times where I have questioned how I feel about it, but still like 95% still going forward. There have been some moments where there have been how to put this, not comments, because comments never faze me. I find them funny. I find trolls incredibly funny. Like, some people expect me to either A, spend like £2,000 each week, and so, like, which obviously is not going to happen. Some people expect me to like go, well, I found it, buy it now. It's like, well, I don't have the monies at the moment to buy that now. and I have had one person who will remain nameless, who I had one conversation with. I've spoken to him over a year, so, who found me a reasonably rare game, and we're talking like 3 figures rare, one of the rarest ones. And I had no money, and I said, I'm sorry, I can't buy that. And they actually got upset at me because I didn't buy it on the spot. I say friend, we'll call them acquaintance because they're not a friend. So you do get those people. There's people. You do get those people. On another side note, and obviously some people who watch Retro Ghetto know this, I am part of Retro Ghetto's not so much group. I Patreon Retro. Because I like Retro. I've been watching this content for a long time, and it's like I Patreon him. So, and we're also part of his group online kind of thing, which is pretty strong. So, and that has actually been one of the better choices I've made. Holy crap, that's a long ass queue. Well, we're gonna have a long conversation now. Goddamn summer holidays. So basically, I speak to a lot of different YouTubers each day, and a lot of like collectors each day. Sometimes I'll be silent, but sometimes I'll have conversations. And YouTube is like, but I can never pronounce your name, your online YouTuber name. Good lord. I will put it somewhere. Write my name down. I'll put Barabar. I'm in a mental breakdown. He's a genuinely nice human being, by the way. Comes off a very nice human being. Obviously, Retro Chef has been very nice to me in the last year and a half. He's obviously Dan helped me start because Dan's one of my best friends, so everyone knows that by now. That's somewhat obvious. Gosh, you want to say some of the YouTube channels, but you forget their names, and you don't want to pronounce their YouTube channels wrongly. Oh my god. Wisbit, Tony, is it Tony Wisbit? I think it's Wisbit. He's been very, very friendly, and since I've started speaking to him the last 3 months in his YouTube channel. And obviously it goes without saying, Retro Ghetto! That's so fucking cringe! You also might notice I make myself laugh quite a lot. I'm not a super giggly person, but when I laugh, I do laugh. And I've said it before, my laugh has been described as one of 2 things. Dr. Hibbert laugh, or hyenas trying to communicate. I think it's more hyenas trying to communicate. That just sounds weirder. But anyway, yeah, I do speak to a lot of people online now. And to be honest, in the last month, and I mentioned in the last episode, I'm now getting people who not only would like a copy of my list of games, and do actively search for games I need. Well, I say need, I would like, don't need. Need sounds like I'm desperate. And not only did obviously you saw on the last parcel, I received 2 games I actually needed, and I thank you for my friend. You know who you are. I try to remember. I don't mention names unless they're YouTubers because people like their privacy. But now, friend of the channel, Dan the Dude, I will be buying from him very, very shortly. A good amount of games. One of them being extremely rare, which I'm ecstatic that he not only has but found for me, which I appreciate you, Dan. So that's going to be happening in the next week or so, depending on what time I can get off. So that's good stuff. And hilariously, I've still got like, so all the CX that I went to on the start of this month of June, all the CXs we have not been through yet. Both CXs in Northamptons we haven't touched yet. I've got footage for, obviously. Burton on Trent in Nottinghamshire. We haven't seen that yet. Newmarket we have not seen. Rugby we have not seen. And Banbury I have not seen. So that is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more CXs that I still haven't recorded for. So to be honest, I've now got to that point like Dan has, because Dan has tons of stuff where I'm like, not so much a month behind in my recordings, but it's nice to know that I haven't, because the worst thing you can do as a YouTuber is get desperate. And I've been meaning to go to Great Yarmouth sometime CEX. I just happened to have a day off today. It's like, let's do it today. So that's kind of thing. So apparently this has actually turned into quite the vlogging episode, because we've been having a maybe like 8-minute conversation right now, and I'm still going pretty strong without actually making any like horrific mistakes, which sounds really stupid, but it's when I record by myself in my own room, I make mistakes, tons of mistakes. And I'm just speaking normally now, and I'm making very little. Oh, good lord, that doesn't look good. That looks like a hell of a car. Oh, okay. So, full disclosure, obviously I'm in a queue right now. This was a turn off, but apparently the queue continues onto the new road. So one of 3 things has happened here: traffic lights, car crash, or tractors being a bunch of assholes. But this is not good. This is not good at all. Obviously, I will cut and splice when we're not talking, because, to be honest, I can't keep this conversation for a full hour. I'm not retro, I can't do that. Jesus Christ, so what is this queue? Anyway, back to what we're having a conversation about. So, YouTubers and collection, that kind of stuff. So the plan for CEX is I'm probably going to combine both Northamptons and Burton together, because out of all the places I went to, that's probably not so much the weakest. We did get games, but not impressive games. That's a lie. Northampton, there was one game that I was elated to get, but Burton, there was not many. So we're probably going to combine those, because I don't want to give you that. The last few episodes, I have been a bit concerned, because some of the games have not been what you call wow. You know what I mean? But as I specified in the last month or so, we've now gotten to that point, because we're now looking for the final third of games that on gaming hunts, including today, the likelihood of finding anything above 4 games is bleak. Oh, the queue is dissipated. I am ecstatic. In that case, this must be a traffic light, which is the best possible scenario. Outstanding. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, me finding a massive amount of games is not happening very time soon. So when you have like my friend Dan, who I'm buying I think 7 or 8 games from him in one go, that's good. That's a win. That's a massive win. And especially one of them, which is, I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but one of them is a game that is nigh on impossible to find. As we know, Roller Rose is an expensive game, but the amount of copies of Roller Rose that comes up on the internet is quite impressive. But this is a game the game I'm buying from Dan, the most expensive one, is a game that I've never seen a physical copy of. It's a game that has just gone up in price in the last year pretty strongly, and to be honest, I'm disgusted how much it costs. Not so much how much Dan's charging me, but how much it is in the market, because Dan is giving me for market rate. So once again, thank you, Dan. But the fact that this game, which I will try, but it's probably aged like old wine. Actually, old wine ages really well. It's aged like terrible milk. Go with that one. It's costing me quite a bit. It's going to become like one of my top 5 most expensive games. But I'm still ecstatic to get it. But it's like the market rate in the last year has propelled this game to double. Put it this way, this game has doubled since I started collecting for this channel. So in the last year and a half, it has doubled in price. So yeah. But those are the breaks. But there's a lot of PS2 games that have actually gone up in price pretty strongly in the last like year and a half. But not the expensive games, like cheap games. For instance, Judge Dredd, which we own. I think I got that game for £3 for a CEX. I think it's like 12 quid now. So it's, in the last year and a half, it is quadrupled in price, which is impressive. Simpsons Hit and Run hasn't gone up massively in price, but for the first time since I collected it, it was 20 quid when I started this channel. It's now 25, so it's now just slowly gone up in price. It's amazing how a game which is, I think, in the top 10 bestsellers for the PS2, so it sold millions, is still so expensive. It's not a hard game to find. I think it's just because it is such a good game, and it's the best Simpsons game. I'm saying that right now. Apart from the arcade game was amazing in the 90s, but £25 for a game that you can literally find very easily, that's, yeah. Yeah. That's one of those things. That's truth. The question I have now is, do I put this whole conversation into my next video? Because this will be misconstrued as a bit tedious for anyone who just comes for the games, because this is going to be a talking episode. But yeah. To be honest, I'm still shocked I got over 1,000 people who subscribe to this channel. That's still awesome. I appreciate that. Well, I think last checked, I check once a week, because I don't check every day. And when you first start, you check every day. When you get to like a year and a half, you check like once a week. Because just out of curiosity, I think it's like 1175, which is still awesome. Still awesome. Do I think this channel is going to get much bigger, like growth, like subs-wise? To be honest, I don't think so. I think we might be getting close to that ceiling until I start improving the quality of this channel. That's me, by the way, not you, Dave. You done your fair job, which is me. Oh, by the way, the last episode, someone pointed out I used a Windows Movie Editor graphic to tell you the song titles in the background. Yes, I do for a very small component of my videos which I make. I use Windows Editor, and it's purely for that graphic. I use that because that graphic's pretty cool. The orange effect, I just liked it, so I just used it once. And the first comment I got was from someone's just not so much criticising, but pointing it out. In all seriousness, if anyone can like recommend a good video editor for a computer, because I don't use Windows, I use something else, but still I want something that's quite better. No, that's terrible English. My God, it is Charles, by the way. I see him now. It's getting to that point where I've just got to the point where it's like I want to do better, but I need actual software to do it with. A question I occasionally get, but I don't get that often, is why do I do this? And to be honest, it's a hell of a question. For the obvious answer, I enjoy it. I enjoy it immensely. For those of you who remember Point Blank, before I started clicking PS2, you can see above where I film, there's multiple folders of Pokemon cards. When I was younger, I used to collect Pokemon cards up till 2019. And there are, like, and I've kept them because I like them, but there's always the right time to sell and the right time not to sell. So at some point in the future, if I feel inclined, I will sell the entire first generation. Because I completed base, I completed forest, not forest, it was a jungle. I completed jungle. Fossil I completed, Team Rocket I completed. It was Gym Hero and Gym Challenge I struggled to complete, but the first 4 sets are fully complete. And not first edition, they were first edition, I would have sold that for thousands. But they are complete. At some point I'm probably going to sell them on, and I don't know what the going rate is for Pokemon cards these days, but if you sold those 4 sets like 5-6 years ago, you would have got £1,000. So I imagine these days, unless the market fell through the ground, you're probably going to get a little more now. Obviously the Holo Charizard is the one that everyone still looks for. Mine's not brilliant, but it's still a Holo Charizard, so it's there kind of thing, so yeah. But it's like, I do enjoy this. I've enjoyed the collecting for the first 2 or 3 years before I started doing YouTube, and I do enjoy YouTube. I thought I might hate it when I started it, but it's like, let's give it a few months, see what happens, and then I just kept going and kept going. I will say point blank, without Dave, this channel would not got off the ground, because my editing skills for the first 8 months were non-existent. I just didn't bother editing. Then one day I thought I'd give a crack at a video, and I think one of the collection episodes where I did those being a collector, I think one of the first ones, anything without a thumbnail is a video I edited in the first few days, because Dave does thumbnails. I still don't know how to do thumbnails. That's how it sounds really stupid. It might be like the easiest thing to do, I just never tried it. But yeah, anything without a thumbnail in the first 6 months of our channel, which is an episode I did. So remember that for future, because you ever see an episode with no thumbnail? That's a case of I forgot to ask Dave for one. Yeah, but now we've got to the point where Dave obviously is the editor, and he's a very good editor, and I can now do basic decent edits. And there's some episodes where I think I'm just as good as Dave. He says, grip teeth. I got to focus this roundabout. But now, if we really wanted to, we could edit 2 videos at the same time. But between Dave's actual life and my life, it sounds easier than it actually is. Because obviously, real life dictates the real life. I need real life for money purposes, for obvious reasons, and obviously real life issues. So trying to edit 2 videos at a time actually not impossible, but hard work. What I didn't realise is that Dave does a lot of his editing, I think, on the phone. I've never edited on my phone in my life. I've got a laptop, but yeah, I use that for editing purposes, because I like the feel of laptops rather than phones. I've never liked doing any kind of editing on a phone. I find it to be a bit, well, not weird. Maybe if I ever get like an iPad, I can edit on that, because bigger screen, you can see what you're doing. You never know, anyway. Anyway, we are rapidly approaching the charity shop I usually use in Great Yarmouth. You know, I'm in the cancer research charity shop. It's massive. This is the place where I got a PS1 Smackdown. I got a couple of PS2 games here too. Generally speaking, it's a place that I always feel I've got a chance of finding something, and I go only like once a month. So when I actually get to parking in about 5 minutes, we will try our luck there. Right, guys, let's see how this goes. Once again, this shop usually, it's 50-50, to be honest. Sometimes I find it, sometimes I don't. It's just the way it is. I have to remind myself I'm in Great Yarmouth, where they don't believe in parking properly. In we go. Well, that's a bit of a colossal waste of time. Yeah. Well, to be fair, that was like the starter. Now I head into the main course, that is CX Great Yarmouth. I have gone in blind on this one, so I have not researched what they have in Great Yarmouth at the moment. So this could be a complete waste of time. But to be honest, this episode is actually turned out to be more of a vlog than I thought I was gonna be. I mean, conversations. I'm just telling you how I feel. So I'm going to keep this episode whatever happens, regardless if I actually get any games. But I'm going to try and get stuff from Great Yarmouth because I don't want this trip to be a complete waste of my time. Anyway, we're going to throw to the ad break right now, and we're going to see you on the other side. Let's see what we have this week. See you in a second. Right, and we're back. Some people ask, why do you do these adverts in the middle? For anyone who's of my age, 30s, when we were younger, obviously there was a lot of actual commercials because the internet in the 90s, the internet was not a thing. If you had the internet in the 90s, you either a rich family, because if you remember correctly, there was no blue. I don't think there was any broadband in the 90s. That was like early 2000s broadband turned up. It was wireless dial-up, so it would go through your actual phone line, and dial-up would take ages, and it just wasn't worth the effort. It really wasn't, and there was no YouTube, no nothing. So it was basically a place where you found out information. That's what it was. So anyway, in the 90s, the only way you found out about new games was through magazines or adverts, and adverts made a big difference. When I was a boy, my favourite console was the Super Nintendo. It really was, and I found a few games through adverts. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island, I found an advert on that. That's how I bought that game. Did I realise that you were playing as Yoshi rather than Mario? No, but I would still argue to this day that Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island is a significantly better game than it had any right to be. And it's one of the best games on Super Nintendo. It really is. To put it in context, they pushed the edge of that console. Sorry, I just got to check something. Bear me a second. That's why the window went down. Real life vlogging, people. Come on. Stand still, you son of a bitch. Thank you. Right, anyway, where were we? Yoshi's Island, for anyone who never played that game, has some, not so much glitch issues, but has a lot of slowdown. The reason it's slowdown is because they literally could pack so much, like, gigs and, like, artwork into that game that the actual Super Nintendo can't do it. For instance, there's one level on that game, if you have too many, like, enemies on the screen at the same time, the game potentially could crash, but it will slow down immensely. Plus the artwork to this day for Yoshi's Island is chef's kiss. It's fantastic. It's amazing, beautiful. I love how some of the better games on consoles always come right at the end of the life when some people miss them. Think about it. 1996, right? Like 1996, 1995 time, right at the end of Super Nintendo's life. Yoshi's Island, Super Mario RPG, the third Donkey Kong, all fantastic games, and they all came near the end of life. I've never played a Kirby game in my life. I'm sure they're good games too. That came right at the end of Super Nintendo's life. At the end of a console's life is where some of the better games always come. If you actually hold on to the end, you'll be lucky. You'll play the better games. It sounds like such a misnomer, but it's absolutely true. Fact. But hilariously, at all my Super Nintendo games, do you know what is the one that's worth the most? Okay, so I own about 10 of them. I kept 10 of them. Would you believe? And when I had a Super Nintendo, when I first got it, I was 4 years old. Take note of that. 4 years old. So one of the Christmases I got given, I was bought a Thomas the Tank Engine game for Super Nintendo when I was 4 years old. Unbelievably, that game is like now worth quite a bit of money. We're talking like £50 upwards for that game. And with the box, I think it's like £100 upwards. It's something ridiculous. I might actually Google that or like CX price that because it makes me laugh. It makes me laugh that the Thomas the Tank Engine game is worth more than nearly every Mario game combined on the Super Nintendo. Hilarious. The game was shit, by the way. 3, 2, 1. Right, we're about to park up for Yarmouth CEX. Obviously, I've got to just pay for the parking, then we'll head on straight in. Once again, completely blind going in. I ain't got a clue what they have. This could be a colossal waste of my time. I really hope not, because that would mean the whole trip has been a colossal waste of my time. It really would. Parking, interesting. This car park's usually quite empty, but this is quite full, which means Great Yarmouth actually is busy. Shocking. I gotta focus here. Oh, good lord! Someone trying to do reverse parking a Mercedes. You know. I knew I would, but I got a slight bit of flack for my comments about Mercedes drivers. I want to make this perfectly clear right now. It's only my experiences, not all. And I did say it in a few, but every time I've had a problem, it's always been with a Mercedes driver. When you have and we're talking like 4 or 5 different problems, we really are. When you talk about, you start getting like, not so much tainted views on people, but you start thinking that everyone's the same. They're not. So I want to make it perfectly clear right now. The majority of Mercedes drivers obviously are very nice people. But the problem is these 5 or 6 people who I've had problems with have tainted my vision of my opinion of Mercedes drivers. And I've tried not to be that guy, but it happens. Plus one of my best friends drives Mercedes too. That was an interesting conversation, I'll tell you right now. But they understood. Right, let's go. Let's go. Ah, God. So anyway, let's head on to CEX Great Yarmouth. There's no point looking in front of me. This is a car park, so you just can look at my beautiful, beautiful face. Obviously, I don't think that. Obviously, I give my thoughts on Great Yarmouth in the past. I rarely ever come to Great Yarmouth anymore because I don't work here anymore. There's no need to. So my thoughts are still the same. It could be so much better. With a little bit of investment and actual people trying, it can be so much better. But there's no investment. People around here blame other people. And it's just like I said in the past. And this also applies to me because I live near Yarmouth. It's always someone else's fault. That can sum up most of humanity sometimes. It's always someone else's fault. Politicians, for instance. Right, so as you can see, we're approaching it at a relatively fast rate. Oh, the England flag is out. Everyone knows my feelings on the British and English flag. See, the problem with this is that some people... Right, okay, random. This is why I don't like live camera work, because it's always somebody. Always somebody. Alright, let's go inside. So this went utterly wrong. The plan was to buy something from CEX like while vlogging, but we got absolutely nothing today from all 3 places I went to. I gave Great Yarmouth another chance after 7 months, and yeah. To be fair, that sounds harsh. That sounds really harsh. Great Yarmouth CEX has been one of the better CEXs I've used since I started. They have been very helpful, and it's one of the better CEXs in general in the country. It really is. It's just the last 3 or 4 times I've had nothing traded in, apart from that really expensive game I can't afford right now. I will get King of Fighters at one point, but I know what's going to happen. I'll finally get the money and so I'll buy it. But it's been sitting there now for 6 months. It's been there for a long time, that King of Fighters game. It really has. So bear me a second, I've got to... Oh, no, he's turning right. I love late indicators. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so basically, this is now going to be basically a vlog video now with no games, and I don't know how I feel about that personally. I suppose it's different. I suppose it's something I'm going to try for once, see how it goes. And the amount of conversation I've had at the moment, this could be like an hour-long vlog with no games. Jesus Christ, this could go horribly, but I'm going to go with it. Screw it. Yeah, I'll go with it. Well, I might as well finish the episode off by just like, I don't know if I ever explained how I met Dave, how this whole thing began, but might as well go with it. Yeah, why not? So, let's just talk about a bit of my past. So, I used to work for B&M. B&M, for anyone who doesn't know what B&M is, it is a discount chain store that sells food, a bit of everything. Food, bedding, kitchen, DIY, it sells a bit of everything. Bear me a second. Oh, god damn it. 3, 2, 1. Sorry about that jump cut, I sneezed. Anyway, yeah, B&M sells a bit of everything, as I just previously explained. And when I was younger, we're talking like late teens, early 20s, I was without a job, and I went 2 years without a job, and I applied for a lot of jobs. It wasn't me just being that guy. It's just like I actually wanted to work, and I always had a working mentality, unlike some people in this country. But there you go. And they gave me a chance, so I worked for them, and I worked 8.5 years with B&M. And the first 2 to 3 years, very nice, and enjoyed it. Then there was like a 2-year period where it's like it wasn't brilliant, but it's like still paying money. Then the last 3 years, I kind of hated it. I didn't hate it, I disliked it. I hated a strong word. I used to transfer me different parts of the store, but yeah. Anyway, long story short, about 4 or 5 years into it, we got a new security. Actually, Dave. I don't think Dave minds me telling this. We got a new security guard. It was Dave. Dave was the security guard at that point, and got a new security guard. And obviously, you've seen Dave. You heard Dave. Dave's got a unique voice. He's got a very deep voice, and Dave hates his voice, which you don't understand because that voice is awesome. It's deep. And so this big man, not like fat big, like actually got kind of muscles big. Where it's like, the fuck is this? Anyway, we just had random conversations, and we found out point blank, because wrestling is socially unacceptable these days, sadly, unless you know no wrestling fan. When you're both hardcore wrestling fans, you don't care. And I just found out one day he's a wrestling fan, and we both are wrestling fans to this day. We started talking, then we started talking computer games, and we became reasonably good friends. And obviously now we're very close. I would say we're very close friends. I like to think that anyway. Long story short, we had a podcast for like 3 months. It was called the Caramel Latte Wrestling Podcast. It was a wrestling podcast for 3 months, and we enjoyed it, but it's just we couldn't get the time together, and it wasn't happening. But I enjoyed those 3 months of last podcasting. Can't remember what year that was, but that was when Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble. That year. Anyway, Dave left B&M before I did. Dave had enough. He was getting treated poorly, and he really was getting treated poorly. B&M did not treat their staff well. They still didn't treat their staff well. That's an opinion, by the way. Some people love B&M. I did not like. You know, that's a lie. Some people did like, but then it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Apart from my assistant manager, who was a very nice lady and very much helped me in the last 2 years, because she treated me like an adult, whereas a lot of managers treat you like children. And I hated that immensely. So anyway, obviously he moved on. Oh, by the way, also, I'm not going to leave out Colin. I have another friend also who has his own YouTube channel, Pig Ranger. Colin, I also met him at B&M. He was just like me, hard-working, but to be honest, got not so much mistreated, but other people got promotions before he did, that kind of stuff. A lot of bullshit, in other words. Anyway, Colin stayed there. I left secondly, Colin left last. Colin was there another year before he left. Yeah, anyway, long story short, out of nowhere, while we were working at B&M, I'm just parking by the way because I'm about to do some shopping. While we were at B&M, we just started talking about computer games and collecting, for instance, because I never collected. At that point, I was still collecting Pokemon cards. And Colin started doing the collecting stuff. And I was like, I just stood there, it's like, if I was going to do a collection, what would I do? Because I watched, and I wanted to be, not so much, I want to be a little unique, but at the same time, I wanted to actually collect something I really wanted collected. And it was going to come down to one of three consoles. Nintendo 64, PlayStation 2, or the Wii. And I picked the PS2, because obviously childhood memories, it was one of my top 3 consoles I ever used. And mainly because collecting a full set of PAL PS2 games actually was an insane concept. It really was, because it was so hard. And it still is, by the way. That's where it started. And I just, on my days off, I would go to CEX and like random stops, and I would buy every cheap game I could buy. To the point where in that Great Yarmouth CEX, I once bought 100 games in one go. And that was, I've never seen a look of hatred from a worker before, but that man, yeah, he hated me. he hated me. But I think, next time he didn't hate me, he just got used to it, but he was shocked that someone bought 100 games. Anyway, Colin was there that day, because I had to ask Colin to help me carry some, because I couldn't hold the bags. You know what I mean? Anyway, since 2 years on, I met Dan through a mutual friend. I met Dan, and turn the engine up now. I met Dan, and I found out Dan had a YouTube channel, and Dan was actually doing quite well after the first like 2 years of like slow growth. Suddenly, it just took off for him. Like, he enjoyed it. He still enjoyed it, and it's like, he's looked at me one day and goes, "Why don't you do a YouTube channel? You do collecting." It's like, I never really give much thought to it. Anyway, we ended up at the 2023 Doncaster Game Market, which was last February. I went with him because I wanted to get games for PS2, and I just looked at him and goes, on the trip, because I was driving, it's like, I'm actually probably going to have a try at this. And long story short, on the way home, we was randomly thinking of names, and the first suggestion, literally the first thing Dan said was like, what about PS2 mini games? And it was like, yeah, that works quite well, actually. So Dan is the person who gave my name for the channel, and it stuck. It works quite well, and I actually do like it quite a lot. Dave, I've known Dave for literally 7 years now, and I asked Dave, can you do editing? Because Dave's always wanted to be like an editor, that kind of stuff. And it's like, yeah, why not? And Dave still enjoys it this day. And Colin, who has got his own YouTube channel, Pig Ranger, give it a look. He collects Wii U games, and I think he's actually getting quite close to completing it. Because Wii U games, physical copies, by the way, obviously. I think there's only like 180 physical Wii U games ever released, because that console died a horrible death. And Colin loved the Wii U. I think it was one of 3 people that did. Love you, Colin. And that's pretty much how the channel came to be. There are other questions I can go into right now, but we'll do it for in a future episode, because I'm about to go shopping. So this has been an interesting episode. An episode where I've basically talked about nearly an hour. I've literally bought nothing. You found some information about me. This is potentially going to be one of my worst episodes ever, or people are actually going to sit here, listen to an hour, and actually like enjoy it. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening, by the way. Next episode will probably be Northampton and Burton, because I've already got that stuff done. If you hear music over the CEX footage, that's because it's copyright, because the background music. But I will splice in some audio with that. So this has been my first real like vlogging while doing it experience. So this will be a one and done, or I will do that occasionally. We'll see what happens. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.